Hello, Gravitrons. I'm more Gravity. Let's play chess. Okay, folks. tactical win here. I'll review this game pretty much move by move. It might be a little bit jarbled. I'm expecting maybe a little bit of inaccuracy. We'll try to get through it nonetheless. Okay. While that works things out on that end, we're going to try... Oh, no, not from there. I got h3 here. It's just gonna be very difficult for my computer opponent's knight to participate in any kind of unlikely attack on my king, or unlikely to be successful attack on my king. And whenever you see king of one color and a knight of another color separated by one square along a diagonal, that means this knight's gonna have to go, like, I think on his fourth move he can put, let's put this, so if they're like this, then just without regard to potential attacks, 1, then to g4 is 2, and then to f2 is 3, and that's attacking. So yeah, that's it's a visual thing. You'll want to know that there's one square in between like this that the knight has a difficult time attacking. So this is why I chose here rook to why I chose here why I chose here king to h3. Right, because king to f3 could lead to some complications of some sort of, rook e3 check, but then the king just moves, of course, but just to keep things a little bit solid, king h3 is fine. My opponent moved pawn to h5, and now we're looking for some sort of material grab. Queen to c4 check looks good, but is then blocked by black's rook. Can we follow up with rook to e1? Probably, yes, so we'll play that. Now we're not worried about that knight move. Now the pin is off. Notice that uh, the computer has played knight to f7. So the pin is now, this rook is now freed, but not for long because I capture, and this is just how to win when you're ahead. A lot of material. Is this my game from yesterday? No, I don't know why this is here. Saying that the game was inaccurate or something. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Let's play another game. Okay, one of my better games. I really showed attacking spirit. I felt I played really well there. Okay, so leave that as it is. And we'll accept this. I will not be playing the game, but I'll accept the friend offer. Okay. At least not right now. So play. No. I didn't accept that offer, so I don't know why the game started anyway. Alright, let's try this. Go to game history. This is the game I just played. Doesn't want to let me. No. Alright, this is the game as it occurred. Finish this in practice. Here we go. I'm gonna capture on g4 with my knight. Mostly, it might not be best move, but we're taking off a calculative liability by putting the knight there. And my Silicon opponent, the computer, has chosen to capture back with his queen. rook would have been preferable, except for then just queen h2 check. And there's a lot of action going on around white's king. Let's try this for the moment instead. Capturing back with the rook here. Am I missing as a forced mate in 4? Okay. Does that continue if we go here? No. So my continuation was wrong. And black's better off forcing the king to the corner first. We can maybe play bishop to g3. And then after queen h2 check comes queen takes f2 checkmate. Alright, so that was one way to deal with this. This kind of centers around this nifty move, bishop to f2 here. Great move, great find by the computer. We're thinking rook e5 is still good enough. We're trying to find a way to make this clean for black. I still stand by knight takes g4, and rook takes g4 we see leads to the mate in 4. So back to, as the practice computer played or suggested, or both, queen takes g4. And of course black will trade and have an extra piece in this type of an endgame. Is there a good way to consolidate right off the bat here? I think bishop to h6 is good here. Why bishop to h6? You might say, well, take the pawn. Well, yeah. First of all, it's difficult to get to f6, just right off the bat. Even if it weren't, if this bishop could hop like so to f6 and have this strong protection on the g7 pawn, black still has to worry about the possibility of white doubling on the h file and sending in a rook to h8 for a devastating effect, or with the pawns and rooks and other pieces as they are, just plain old checkmate. So instead, queen takes g4, rook takes g4. Instead of that, black does well to play bishop h6 here. It's marked as an inaccuracy with quite a lot of oomph behind it. So let's find out what the better move was. Yes, of course. Pawn to g5, giving the king wiggle room, protecting the bishop that's protecting the pawn. The bishop cannot be harassed by pawns that are, from a bygone era or anything like that. And things are now much more orderly for black. Let's see if we could have done it with the move I made, which was bishop to h6. Here black is going to be able to get a trade of rooks. I don't know, towards center or away from center here. Probably just stick with towards center. I don't like connected pawns so close to the promotion squares, so I played this. Now it's just these 3 Isolanis for black to worry about, or target, what have you. The question becomes, do I want to trade both of these doubled B pawns for this dangerous A pawn? And the answer is yes. Rooks belong behind pawns, both of their own color and of their opposite color. So ideally this rook would be here, but we can get to d4 in one move rather than obviously two moves here, right? So I'm looking at a line like rook to d4, rook to b3, and white seems to be holding there actually pretty easily with the pawn left on a light square. So we could attack from the side, and maybe there's something. I don't like that. No, that's not the way. That's not the way yet. And if I am gonna, you know what? Here's good. I think I like this, for a variety of reasons that all lead together towards flexibility. I can place my rook on d2. White was forced to play king g3 to break up the uh, pin on the f pawn, right? If we look at this rook to a2, this pawn is pinned. Some kind of, well, any move affects it, but look, that bishop to e3 attacks both the pinned pawn and white's rook in a way that the rook can't successfully interfere or protect, and black is going to play rook takes f2 check next. Like I said, any move affects it, but really, if I know it's white's turn to move here, but were it black is sometimes a way to play. We play bishop to e3. Let's try this. We're going to force pawn to d4 and see what happens. It's an inaccuracy already because there's no way for black to cover against these attacks I'm showing here. And this is dead over. Instead, what did I play? So I'm playing I'm playing rook to a2 here. I choose to still get behind the pawn. It's not clear whether white's king activity is enough to make this a draw for white. I don't think so. I have the extra piece, but we'll play rook to d2 is still very strong because of the security provided by black's dark squared bishop on h6. I'm going to make black's fortress loom a bit larger. Okay, so we've transitioned to kind of a different position here. Well, ends up being kind of a hard fought win for black. Uh, it doesn't look good for white now that he has no pawns left, so. Hmm. Okay, so we got it eventually. We're working from this position, and now we're trying to find a faster win for black. Maybe we just have a full extra piece. I'm not concerned about guarding the f7 square, so I'll move my f pawn, or my f rook rather, to e8. So I'm either gonna double on the e file. Just double like this. Block. Yeah, we play rook to g6, and the white rook can't double because it's pinned in a way to his king. Here, and at the last moment possible, we secure our bishop. Okay, so here I could break up this pawn structure and leave white with 3 black square isolanis. That sounds pretty good. The other choice would be to push to c6 and have a little bit of a liability, but also still 4 pawns on dark squares. No, I'm going to go with the 3 isolanis. It's a weaker pawn structure for my opponent to protect. It's overall better for black. We're going to get a lot of pawns out of this deal, and it's going to probably prove the difference. I would want to hold on to this G pawn. I don't think I can. There's no way to prevent from losing it, but we'll try our best with bishop takes f2. And we're in all of a sudden kind of a similar conundrum as before. No, that's not the one. Let's go. think I took 2 hints on this try. That's a little bit better. I think I got some idea about how to approach those types of situations, and we're going to just seal this up. Huh. Okay. Interesting. Well, this is an interesting position here. The ending position in the game to play out against. Uh, Personally, for me, it would be the computer on maximum. Uh, and sometimes I'll win, sometimes I won't. But I'll learn a lot, and I'm learning a lot about some end game positions that will come in useful, come in handy. Right, will come in handy. And these are, that end game I played, king and rook versus king, rook, pawn, and bishop. That's a realistic end game to come across OTB over the board. So I'm going to mark this in my game collection. I reviewed it on Twitch. It's endgame practice. And was this high accuracy? I'm not sure. It was a great game. All collected, but also up here somewhere. Probably games for serious study. And endgame finesse. Right. Destructive games. I know that the end game isn't included here, but I'll know that when I'm accessing this collection that some of these were like positions to play through to the end game, from which you'll learn a lot because it won't be the same every time. All right, there we go, George. Some good file work or game collecting, and I believe this is the version. Yes, this is the version we just played through. We're gonna watch over this game from start, just slowly, and I won't make too many comments. D3 is a little passive. I'm opening the position up early. Bishop e6 and bishop d6 solidify the center. My opponent's starting a queenside attack, looking to get things rolling with the pawn storm. The f4 perch is better than one might normally think. 2 pawns for the bishop, but also strong attack, and things start getting a little bit difficult to calculate. We see here, I believe both players make errors. And when the dust settles here, black has an extra bishop in a way that, like I said, is good for playing against the computer in to solidify your end game. When you're ahead enough for the win, but how the heck do you do it? This is a good game for that. Probably starting with the swap of the first pair of rooks. Right, so we just saw all this. We don't need to see it again. It leads to this rather technical maneuvering, trying to inch the G pawn farther and farther up the board. As it turns out, further and further as well. You'll have to look into my master's thesis research to. No, I'm kidding. No, but the board can be the board can exist as an idea. Blind people play chess, or the board can exist as a board, a physical board. I have one here that helps me rest my computer, or this digital one here. It's also a board. So you don't have to be bound by the physicality of it, although it's really nice to play chess on an actual chessboard. And my thesis work does involve chess quite a bit. If you're interested, you would Google Jordan Wyatt, that's me, and then a word, quality contrast in. It's called quality contrast and condensation in analysis of chess games. As a free to public work. It's on the internet, and it's research I did while I studied at American University. Alright, so rook to d1. Here we go, just queening, and then very much checkmating after that. This is the same one with a more belabored endgame? Yes. Okay, so we can close that. This is the practice associated with that more belabored endgame. And this is the game as it was. Okay. Well, we've got some. What's this about? This game was played near midnight, or I happened upon the same player. Let's see. You can check what time the game was played by info here. Yeah, so see, I played this right after midnight, so these games show up as the first of these three games against my opponent, Pizza and Lasagna, occurred in late in the 11th hour. Yesterday occurred before midnight and then after midnight. So, that's great, but kind of thinking, how many games did I play? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 games against him. And then today has been a more direct success. Some successful games. Let's review this game. No, I won't review this game because it's so very inaccurate. This game. It was an open board game. I had board for most of it. I made a blunder here. It's a blunder that also made the game, so we kind of take tit for tat with that. We're just collecting enough extra material to win directly. Let's finish that game out. I think we all need to. Ledge. Even 50 cents. 50 cents. And even murderers' tactics get better with practice. Lead showers, guns, fellas, field tower. Chris Reeves in his grave. Yeah, homie, turn. I'm debating mutilating the lady. You've been waiting for Shady and Fifth. Ain't no duplicating it, baby. That second part was from Eminem, starting with I'm debating. Psycho is a good track for an adult to listen to. If you're an adult and you're already into hip hop, I recommend Psycho as a collaboration between Eminem and 50 Cent with just a really compelling rhyme scheme and a lot of interesting imagery. Some of it's grotesque or perhaps even disturbing, but it's a track I like nonetheless. The lady is the queen. What happened? I set this to... What'd you do, George? What did you do? I thought I set it to calculate in one way. Okay. Interesting. I want to revisit this opening because this is... I've seen this before. I don't understand it. We're in the King's Gambit here, and out goes F5 on move 2 by Black. But wait a minute. I've played similar games. I don't know if quite this game, but I have definitely played E4, E5. No, I have played as white. I've played E4 against the stunning, swashbuckling gambit pawn to F5. I played this game against. We'll keep his identity private for reasons that doesn't really matter, but just because we have to do one or the other. But he regularly played pawn to F5 as Black's first move against E4. It's tough, man. But he knew all the ins and outs of it. He really believed that it can sort of shake up White. White starts getting nervous early, and that yes, Black has some serious issues on the with, for instance, Queen to H5 check. Well, let's we would play E4, F5, and E takes F4, and it's Black's turn to move. My chess club friend, my late friend, he he said take. If you're white here, right? Let's even play it. How about we get a practice board going, right? I know how to do that. We'll go up to this thing. That's a magnifying glass. I'm gonna play practice versus computer. And when the computer makes a move, we'll just force it to take it back. Alright, then F5. Then white's gonna play. My friend who plays this open very often says, indeed, white captures F5. Alright, and then some of these attacks, early attacks trying to expose the H5 E8 diagonal, he says they don't really work, but you can get other aims completed instead. Did he say that? Did he say that? I'm not certain. No, I don't know if for sure my friend said that or not, but let's take a look ourselves. Bishop H5 check, and the king's already moved from his starting square. Anyway, it's an opening champion by one of the staples. I will say this, by one of the staples of chess here in the state of New Jersey. And we think white has achieved some with an extra pawn and an opponent king off its starting square. So who knows? There's still a game of chess to be played after that. All right, my friends. Oh, he beat me both times we played, by the way. Both tournament games we played, I lost. I only had white in one of them. It just so happened that I lost that game. But didn't forget some of the advice he said about, yes, indeed, E4 takes F5. All right. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Gravitrons. I'm more gravity. Have a great night.